All right, so I want to have a serious discussion here about coming out of the closet as a straight man and as a philosopher, or someone who tries to lead the philosophic life, right? And since I am into trying to lead a philosophic life, my instinct is to, provide lots of explanation, right? Like I have points to make, but my instinct is to provide lots of explanation. And so I did a full video. It's over 30 minutes. It's 32 minutes. And you can check that out if you want the whole explanation, but this is just going to be the points I want to make. Right? So I'm straight, right? I'm a straight man, and this is something about me that people will never accept, right? There will always be people that I meet that insist that I'm gay, right? And it doesn't really bother me that much, right? I don't have a problem with people being gay, and it would be fine with me if I were gay, right? It's just not the case, right? So that's one thing. Like people will always insist that I'm gay. It's no big deal. But really, what's more important is that I'm into the philosophic life, right? And people demand that I go back into the closet, right? Now, here's the catch, though, right? The reality is that there isn't really any more reason to believe that people are born gay than that people are born into philosophy or into the philosophic life. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm completely serious. Okay? So, now, you could say that I chose the philosophic life, right? But you could also say that I didn't choose the philosophic life, right? Like the reason I am like I am today is because of many, many factors. The whole idea of free will is questionable. And really what I want to make this video about is the superficial quality of the debate, right? Whenever you look up the whole issue of being gay and its relation to biology, it's always presented in terms of you're either born that way or it's a choice, as if those are the two options, right? But that's just ridiculous, okay? Just because you didn't choose something doesn't mean that you were born that way. You know, look at PTSD, right? People don't choose to have the effects of PTSD, but they're not born that way. So that's one example, and I'm much more comfortable with people being gay than having PTSD, right? PTSD is just a tragedy. It's just a sad thing. But what's especially superficial about the debate that we have is that we are not really interested in coming up with an explanation of homosexuality that applies broadly to human history, right? Our explanation should apply to humans per se, right? But what happens is that people take our idea of homosexuality, which is being gay, and they test for the relation of that to biological factors. Right? Now, it's not clear exactly in the first place why this is a problem, but I'm going to explain it right now. And the reason it's a problem is because being gay is not the same thing as homosexuality, right? And in fact, being gay is a modern form of homosexuality, right? So being gay is committing to a homosexual lifestyle, right? Whereas homosexuality might be understood to be homosexual acts, right? But being gay is, when you are inclined anyway to commit to the homosexual lifestyle. And that has, that's a modern phenomenon. That's a modern form of being gay. It's a modern form of homosexuality. So all these scientific studies, they only consider people in relation to that. Right? But what I would like is a theory of homosexuality that applies to our society as well as it does to ancient Greece. Right? In ancient Greece, something like 100% of the men participated in male homosexuality, right? Or otherwise they wanted to if they weren't able to. And something like 100% of the men participated in male heterosexuality, right? They wanted to take wives and have children, right? They just had a different form of homosexuality in their time. Whereas in our time, in America, for instance, it's something like 3 or 4% of the population identify as gay, right? So there's, I've seen no effort by, these serious people to account for the relation of biology to homosexuality in ancient Greece. And that's what I like, is a theory that can explain all of that, right? Because if you were to get the opportunity to, ask an ancient person if they were gay, right, it would be difficult in the first place because you'd probably have to say something like, well, are you inclined to commit to only having sexual relations with people of the same sex? Because there probably isn't any simple way to ask someone if they're gay in the ancient world. And then once you ask them that, they would probably think, this person's a weirdo. What does he mean I'm only going to commit to having sexual relations with people of the same sex, right? The ancient person probably never would have considered that before. And the reason why is because the factor is industrial society, right? In pre-industrial society, productivity was proportional to physical strength, right? In post-industrial society, people use machines, and so productivity is proportional to experience, right? Now, the thing about physical strength is that men are stronger than women, for the most part, right? The thing about experience is that, and using machines, the thing about that is that it's available more or less equally to men and women, right? So in industrial society, we're able to have gender equality. But in pre-industrial society, right, for the most part, productivity is proportional to physical strength. So there's a natural gender inequality that radically pushes the two different sexes toward each other, right? Whereas in modern times, in industrial society, there's the possibility of gender equality, so there's the absence of the force pushing these two sexes together, and so that's why there's all the sexual license, all the, the gender ambiguity, all the, that's why there's the gay lifestyle, right? That's why you can be gay, right? Because, the sexes are not being pushed toward each other as a matter of necessity like they have been throughout all of history, right? It's just completely different. So what I'm saying is that right now is the time for gender equality, all right? None of what I'm saying is a criticism of being gay. I'm just saying that it's a modern form of homosexuality, right? And so the whole point of this video and of my, doctrine with regard to homosexuality that I'm explaining is that I want to do a better job confronting homophobes. Right? I want to have a theory that's broadly applicable to life so that we can actually confront these people rhetorically, whereas, the current debate is just about calling people homophobes. It's not really about arguing with people, and to the extent that you argue with them, it's like, oh, well, don't you know gay people are born that way? Right? And no, right? That is very questionable. Right? Look it up. It's very questionable that gay people are born that way. And what I'm saying is that being gay is a modern form of homosexuality. All right? People did not commit, whole sections of the population did not commit to a homosexual lifestyle in the ancient world. So, just some loose ends I'll add in here. People say all the time that gender is a social construct. And then they say that sexuality, you're born that way, right? We've heard this comment a lot, right? And so, you ask, and by the way, what I've explained to you is my view that gender is a social construct. that relates to industry. That's what I've just explained, right? I agree, gender is a social construct. So with regard to sexuality, you ask them, what you want to do is ask them, well, what is sexuality, right? And of course, it's an orientation with regard to, what gender you're attracted to. And then they've already said that gender is a social construct, right? So being gay is a social construct. All right. Now, we're gonna pretty much wrap it up here, but the point is that philosophy is inextricably linked to the philosophic life. Right? There's a philosophic lifestyle, and I do kind of an old school Platonic version of philosophy that links philosophy to the philosophic life, and so I believe that there is such a thing as fast food philosophy, which you can get from your local community college or where have you. But we wouldn't even have that if it weren't for certain people throughout history fanatically committing to living the philosophic life. Right? That's why we are able to have little bits and pieces of philosophy available to everyone. Right? Because there's this thing called the philosophic life where there are people who suffer the consequences. Right? And we don't usually think of like, well, what are the consequences of being into philosophy? It's nothing, right? Well, think about this video that I've just made, right? Call into question the whole idea of being born gay. Right? Do you know how many people I piss off saying these things to? But I think it's important to say these things. Okay? And there's another one is black people, right? I'll make other videos about black people, but black people need to be discussed, right? And that just pisses people off. And then, on the other side, on the right, for instance, think about the implications of what I'm saying for instance, the Bible, right? What I'm saying is that the Bible never refers to being gay, right? It refers to homosexuality, right? So, and what I'm saying is that now is the time for gender equality. So it's completely questionable that the God of the Bible would say to us the same thing about homosexuality that he said to people 2,000 years ago when, the circumstances demanded that people be drawn together. Well, that pisses off the people that are into the Bible because they say, oh, no, the Bible rules out being gay, and it doesn't because no one ever considered. Certainly, being gay wasn't broadly considered in the ancient world, so how could the Bible even refer to that? It doesn't. So this video pisses people off. This video is a fine example of how philosophy is in conflict with society. And here's another point, right? Right now, gay people are not really that discriminated against. Right? They're not really more discriminated against than philosophers, right? Like, I live in San Diego. You can be gay in San Diego. It's okay, right? Like, there's probably been people who have faced discrimination in San Diego because they were being gay. I'm sure there are. But I will put my credentials being discriminated against because I'm into philosophy, a particular type of philosophy, fine, but nonetheless, philosophy. I will put up my discriminated against credentials against any gay person in San Diego. Any one of them. All right? Where I live, pretty much every restaurant, most businesses have little signs in the window explaining that gay people are welcome. Okay? But there's 2 restaurants on my street that have signs up that suggest that they wouldn't want to serve me because of the ideas in this video. Specifically because I'm criticizing the orthodoxy with regard to being gay. I'm completely serious. These signs are up over there. So that's pretty much the long and the short of it. What was the other comment I wanted to make? I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I did a bunch of reading before I made these videos just to get caught up on, is the debate still superficial and so forth. And one of the pro Born That Way articles that I read, which I'll link in some of these videos, whatever, said that it was pro Born That Way, but it said that less than 1/3 is attributed to biology. Right? Less than 1/3. So what are we really talking about here? And then people go around so indignant, like, oh, you know, gay people are born that way, gay people are born that way, and then you confront them being like, oh, well, it's a combination of being born that way and societal factors. And it's like, oh, really? Well, this sounds kind of like philosophy, right? Because not everyone can be into philosophy. You know, I have a full video explaining these things, but, you know, you can check that out. I'll link to it. Basically, the conclusion is out of the cave and into the closet, right? Like, here. All you people watching this all pissed off right now, here's what I want to tell you. I'm going to be a better opponent of homophobia than you are, all right? But I ain't mad at you. No, I ain't mad at you.